Coming up on Point News, raising awareness about self-harm.
Shocking statistics, just how many college students are at risk.
He passed a note and got away with the cash.
What we've just learned about the suspect in a bank robbery that happened near Point Park's campus.
And homelessness and addiction.
A stunning documentary shown to Point Park students, the lessons they took away about this alarming problem. Point News starts now.
Live from the Point Park University Broadcast Center in downtown Pittsburgh, this is Point News.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Point News. I'm Wyatt Cree.
And I'm Tasay Harmon. March is Self-Harm Awareness Month. Shocking statistics showing that self-harm runs rampant among young people. Point News reporter Katie Kelly takes a look.
During the month of March, you may notice some people wearing orange ribbons, but it's not because the seasons are changing. March is Self-Injury Awareness Month, and the orange ribbons symbolize the awareness for self-injury. According to the Center for Discovery, self-injury, also known as self-harm, is the deliberate action of causing physical harm to oneself and is a very dangerous sign of emotional distress.
So if we suspect somebody is self-harming, our steps are usually to immediately call our administrator on duty, or our AOD, and from that point we kind of go and have a conversation with the resident to make sure that they're okay, to see if they want to talk to us about certain things.
Center for Discovery also cites that adolescents are at the highest risk for self-harm. Roughly 15% of teenagers and 17 to 35% of college students self-harm. It's important to note that self-harm is usually carried out without the intention of suicide.
Sleeves when it's really, really hot out, or long pants when it's really hot out, or maybe, one of their friends saw something on Twitter or saw something on Facebook. Just kind of being aware and kind of talking, making sure that they know you're available, making sure that they know it's okay and that they can talk to somebody.
According to the Mayo Clinic, people self-harm for multiple reasons. These include trying to manage or reduce stress or anxiety, provide a distraction from painful emotions, feel a sense of control over one's body, or express internal feelings in an external way.
When it comes to prevention of self-harming or it's not always a good to stop. But if somebody starts to feel that that's what is happening to themselves, reach out. Reach out for help, whether it be to your teacher, to your friends, people you care about, to reach out to your family, so that way you can go and talk to your therapist or at least to a certain point.
If you or anyone you know is suffering from self-harm, please seek out the resources on campus. This is Katie Kelly reporting from Village Park for Point News.
ADHD, or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, is becoming more and more prevalent among young people. Point News reporter Jordan Slobodinsky with the alarming numbers.
In a recent study conducted by the Center for Disease Control, an estimated 6.1 million United States students are diagnosed with ADHD every year. Another amazing statistic from the study showed that 62% of those students have been given medication by their healthcare provider. I caught up with Brad Thompson, a member of the Center for Student Success at Point Park University, who helps students with learning disabilities.
According to Point Park's website, the Center for Student Success is an office that is committed to helping students, whether it's scheduling, changing majors, or even tutoring. Brad Thompson is a Disability Services Advisor at the Center for Student Success, and he explained what exactly it is that he does and how it affects students who may be struggling with physical or mental learning disabilities.
I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a learning specialist. I don't test them. So the test has already been done and all the analyses have been done, and it comes through, here are some things that will help this student succeed in class. All I have to do is turn that into the language we use here to present to faculty or whomever would be involved.
This data collected by the Center for Disease Control shows how many children are being affected by ADHD, and that's not including other learning disabilities. Thompson legally cannot give advice to students, but his job is to interpret doctors' orders so that students can have the best education possible.
All I can do is interpret, again, the doctor's orders. So I try as hard as I can to be like an athletic referee. I'm totally unattached to the process in terms of any kind of diagnosis or any sort of choice of what to be implemented.
The CDC study also indicated that children living in rural areas were more likely to have received an ADHD diagnosis. Thompson says that no matter what the student's background or disability may be, he will do his best to accommodate them.
Universal design for persons with learning disabilities. And what that is that you design the course and all the way it's delivered in a way that helps those who need special accommodations and deliver it that way to everyone in class. The metaphor or analogy is that we use the ramps on the curbs on the street, but they're not there for us. So, but it's universal design. Might as well make everything a ramp if the ramps are going to be what's being used.
Thanks to Brad and other members of the Center for Student Success, students at Point Park who have a learning disability, whether that's mental or physical, can rest assured that they have help. For Point News 4, I'm Jordan Slobodinsky.
According to the Center for Disease Control, March is STD Awareness Month. A representative said in an email that this year's theme is Treat Me Right. The program is designed to ensure that people have access to proper tools to detect infection. According to the CDC statement, a list of ways to get involved with the Treat Me Right program can be found on their website. And Point Park's Campus Activities Board is wrapping up their hiring process for the 2018-2019 school year. Applicants had group interviews 2 weeks ago and an individual interview starting last week. According to an email from Brad Kowalczyk, head of Student Activities and Leadership Program, they will have their final decisions by March 23rd.
March is National Women's History Month, a time to reflect on the fight for women's rights. Point News reporter Nicole Paxinos has the story.
How can women fight back in our society? Well, we are here tonight where Point Park University's Black Student Union is hosting the Feminist Collective and the Office of Title IX in honor of Women's History Month. Point Park University's Black Student Union has come together to give background on women's history and how they can make a change.
I think we struggle to be taken seriously in a lot of positions, even though we've made a lot of advancements in many different fields and can be seen as in more career positions today. We still are not seen as capable as men.
And a woman is not like a robot, and she's not a machine that you can just like control anytime you want to.
This panel was not just for women to speak their voices on women's issues, but also men as well. Women have made strides throughout history, but many of their gains were made during the two eras of activism in favor of women's rights.
Minorities been through a lot throughout the years, for decades. So, just seeing how things are going, in today's era, I definitely see us rising to the top.
According to the U.S. Census Bureau, Congress has passed a resolution for Women's History Month, and the president has issued a proclamation. Last year in March, almost 10 million women were running their own businesses.
Empowering to be around empowering women.
We have to be responsible for making a change in whatever way we can.
The Black Student Union holds many different events here on campus and are here to help empower all students. There are so many different ways for you to get involved and have your voice be heard within your community and your university. Reporting from Point Park University's Black Student Union History Panel, I'm Nicole Paxinos for Point News.
Police make an arrest following a bank robbery not far from Point Park's campus. The robbery happened just after 4 p.m. Monday at the Key Bank on 6th Avenue. A Pittsburgh public safety spokesperson says 55-year-old Jonathan Owens L. entered the bank, passed a note to the teller, and ran off with the cash. He was arrested downtown for a short time later and is now in the Allegheny County Jail.
Coming up later in the show, find out which two players will be added to the Steelers roster.
And what queens took over Point Park's campus. All that and more when Point News returns.
Whatever happened to predictability? The milkman, the paper boy, the evening TV. You miss your old familiar friends, but waiting just around the bend. Everywhere you look, everywhere there's a heart, a hand to hold on to. Everywhere you look, everywhere there's a lust of somebody who needs you. When you're lost out there and you're all alone, life is waiting
Spending just 7 minutes climbing stairs each day cuts your risk of a heart attack in half over 10 years. Sure, elevators are convenient, but you burn twice the number of calories just going upstairs than you do while jogging. Think about how long you spend waiting for elevators. The average person spends the equivalent of 2 years waiting for elevators over the course of their lifetime. Don't let that be you. Save time and increase energy. Next time, take the stairs.
Let's go. Ow.
Did you know that even though winter is still here and most animals in the zoo are inside, the PPG Aquarium is still in full bloom? The aquarium has been with the zoo for 125 years and has gone through some drastic renovations. Currently, they are at peak hours, which means they are open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The zoo has over 4,000 fish, but the exhibits are ever changing. So the last time you were in the aquarium, it could look different than it does today. So that is a good reason to go check it out today. The cost to get into the zoo is $12 for adults, $11 for seniors, and $11 for kids ages 2 to 13. The animals in the zoo are set to come back to their outside exhibits by mid-April.
Point Park's Campus Activities Board hosted their annual drag show last Thursday. The show, hosted by Pittsburgh drag queen Bambi Dearest for the 3rd year in a row, drew students to the Lawrence Hall Ballroom to watch the queens lip sync or swim.
These shows because the kids react to almost everything, like raise an arm, they freak out, let out a burp, and they lose their minds. My job is so simple.
The show featured local drag performers, including several Point Park student queens. The drag queens performed lip syncs from everyone to Cardi B to Britney Spears. If you missed the drag show at Point Park, don't worry. Shows are held weekly at Blue Moon Bar in Lawrenceville, including open stage night every Wednesday. It's an alarming problem in Pittsburgh: homelessness and addiction.
Students learning lessons from a brand new documentary. We take an inside look when Point News returns.
One is the loneliest number that you'll ever do.
What's one word to describe CAB?
Welcoming. Community. Creative.
Experiences.
Family. Openness. Pineapple.
The Campus Activities Board is a student-run organization that consists of 7 different committees. Each focuses on event planning, marketing, and administrative activities. Join us in organizing the juiciest events on campus, from late-night bingo to festive dances to our team bonding meetings. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Point Park Cap, or like us on Facebook at Campus Activities Board at Point Park University.
Good evening and welcome to Newsnight. I'm Josh Troop alongside Jess Paterchak.
Defending his decision to kick out 15 Cuban diplomats from the United States.
Thanks, Allison. Fitness on Demand has returned to Point Park.
Residents fear that Mount Agung will have a repeat of 1963's eruption.
Two-star NFL quarterbacks made the headlines this week after wrapping up.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening. That's your news tonight. For Nick Tomarello, I'm Alex Grubbs. Have a great night.
Welcome back. Homelessness and addiction.
Point Park students recently got to see a new documentary about that very topic. Point News reporter Jess Paterchak dives deeper into the impact of addiction and the message for young people.
According to the Pennsylvania Medical Examiner's Office, in 2016, nearly 13 people died each day to a drug overdose. Point Park's Department of Community Engagement is looking to share some light on the issue by hosting a documentary and panel called The Eye of the Needle. This footage is from the very beginning of the documentary, symbolizing the deaths of those who have passed away from drug overdose here in Allegheny County.
And it started out of something that I saw in Market Square. I lived downtown and I was walking across the square and I watched a woman pass out right in front of me.
From there we go to possibly administering Narcan for the individual if we suspect an overdose, which there's different signs, pinpoint eyes, very shallow breathing, a slow pulse rate, a weak pulse rate, things like that, which we've been trained to look for.
Robert Berger touches on what impacted him the most from this documentary, hitting very close to home.
It did hit close to home too, because the EMS services they interviewed were actually from my hometown, and it is a problem that we do see, and there are people you know, and you don't expect it, who have problems with opioids. So it's a really good thing that Point Park's actually bringing it to campus, especially because we're right in downtown and we see it every day. So like they said, and the reason that they held the event, when they start these conversations, that's when people actually start taking action to solve the problems that exist.
According to the Pennsylvania Coroner's Office, in 2016, over 85% of drug overdose-related deaths were connected to prescription and illicit drugs. Here is Officer Joe Shutka's response to that very statistic.
It's upsetting. I wouldn't wish that upon anybody, any type of addiction, whether it be an opioid addiction, alcoholic addiction, whatever it may be. And it's sad that it's gotten as bad as it has.
And when I did get back on my feet from being homeless, I promised myself that I would spend the rest of my life helping others get on their feet.
A large percentage of drug overdose-related deaths here in Pittsburgh are synonymous with the misuse of prescription drugs. Organizations such as the Light of Life Rescue Mission and Point Park's Office of Community Engagement are looking to spread some light on these issues. Reporting in Lawrence Hall, I'm Jess Paterchak for Point News.
The first day of spring brought snow to Pittsburgh.
But is there a spring warm-up on the way? Let's turn things over to Point News weather with Jordan Slobodinsky.
Thanks, guys. As you can see, today it's going to be a high of 48 with a low of 30. No precipitation, unlike yesterday where we had snow the entire time. So you can expect this today to be a little warmer than the other days previously. And as you can see on, on Saturday it's a high of 48 and a low of 29 again. And Sunday with a high of 46 and a low of 29. So again, not going to be a wet weekend, but a relatively warm weekend. But keep your jackets out just in case. Let's toss it back to them at the desk.
And in campus news, the annual etiquette dinner is set for Wednesday, March 28th from 2 to 5 p.m. The dinner is being sponsored by CAB and the Career Development Office, who say dinner etiquette is an important skill for entering the professional world. Tickets may be purchased in the sale office on a first-come, first-served basis for $5. Seating is limited.
The Steelers have acquired 2 new players in this free agency period. Former Indianapolis Colt John Bostic was the signal caller for them until he suffered a season-ending knee injury. He will be ready for the start of the season with the departure of Rob Golden, Mike Mitchell, and William Gay. The Steelers have acquired Morgan Burnett from the Packers. His versatile skill set could be the missing key the Steelers need to complement the young guys in Artie Burns and Sean Davis. That does it for this week's Point News. Be sure to join us next Thursday, live at 2 p.m. I'm Tasay Harmon.
And I'm Wyatt Cree. Have a great week, everybody.